You are the light of the world. I am the light of the world. Some people live their entire lives pursuing selfish interest, not aligning themselves with God's heart to see all men influenced by the power of the gospel. To see all men influenced by the power of the gospel. In other sense, you and I, it's our responsibility to influence people with the power of the gospel. Amen. With the power of the gospel. Paul said that I may know the power of the good news. And the good news, which is the gospel, has power. And we need this power to move on in this Christian journey. I'm reading from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14 and 16. You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. 3 keys I want us to look at. 1. God desires your dreams to be connected to His. God desires your dreams to be connected to His. This way, your motives will always reflect His heart to see all men saved and living in the freedom of His truth. Now, this way, our motives, let me put it that way, our motives will always reflect His heart to see all men saved. And we know for sure that the desire of Christ, the desire of God, is to see all men saved. That is why He gave Jesus Christ. Look, the Lamb of God that taketh away the sin of the world. He took the sin of the world away for man to be what? Saved. Now, when He says you are the light of the world, sometimes our mind goes like, there's a lot of things go through our mind. But you are the light of the world means that you need to carry the gospel. It's only the gospel that can lift us to become the light of the world. I keep on saying this. Whatever is happening in this country, if we Christians don't lift up, we don't set up a standard for right from the government sector to the roots. If we Christians don't set up a standard, nothing going to change. We have to change it. And the only way we can change it is when we lift up our light. And the light is the gospel. It's the gospel. 2. Sharing the gospel with others should be the compelling motive and propelling force in our lives. People use their money to, they say they can't talk, so they will give their money out. That is fine. But trust me, you need to talk. Everybody, all of us, we need to talk. Some will say, I can't stand here to talk. Listen to me. Yes, you can't stand here, but you can talk to one person. For us to become the light of this world, we need to talk about the gospel. Nothing else. It's not the money that we have. It's the gospel. The good news. And that is Christ. All of us here we need to come to that understanding that it's the gospel that will cause us to become the light of this world. If you feel that, then we are failing our Father. Before we are politicians, teachers, bankers, students, or any other occupation, we are Christians called to be the light of the world. Before we getting riches, before we getting even talent, before we getting things to be done, we are what? Christians, pastors. We were Christians, unless we have not accepted the Lord. If you really have accepted the Lord, that means that for you to be the light of the world, it all depends on the gospel. It all depends on the gospel. Not your money, not where you work. Nothing than that apart from the gospel. 3. We hold out to all men the good news that will save their souls. It's our responsibility to bring the gospel with steady radiance to others by the power that resides within us. Say after me, I carry power inside of me. And that's the power of the gospel. I always encourage people that we need to study more. Study the scriptures, read the scriptures, make sure that your mind, your whole being is in the gospel. That you should come to that understand, that level, that standard, that you know that the word is inside of you. That anywhere you stand to talk, you don't feel timid that you cannot talk. That's the point you have to come. And trust me, when you get hold of the good news, you can't be quiet. You can't be quiet. Because it's a good news, so you'll be so happy, joyful to share with someone. Because it's good news. Preaching Jesus Christ is a good news that everybody must hear. And for us to become the light of this world is our responsibility. It's our duty. And this is not about any feeling of ours. This is something that we have to make cautious effort to do it. To preach it. Maybe you want to travel. Trust me. There's some people who want to travel up and down here and there. Pick up the word of God and see. You will go everywhere that you want to go. Because He wants His word to go everywhere. So therefore, the moment we pick it up, we will go everywhere. And that's the word that causes us to become the light of the world. Not anything that we do, not our money, not our wealth, not our buildings, not our positions, nothing. These are three things that I want us to keep in our minds. That we know that we are the light of the world is basically based on the word of God and nothing else. That we should be filled with the word of God and make sure that wherever we find ourselves, probably might think that you are a market seller that okay, I'll go and sell my and then bring money to the church, and the church will use the money to evangelism and all that. Yeah, they are all good. They are all good. But as individuals, we need to get hold of the gospel. Because the gospel brings us from bondage, condemnation, stress. You can't be calling yourself, I'm sick, whilst you know that there's a healing provision made for you. You can't be calling yourself that I'm poor, whilst you know there's a provision for you. I don't know who go to market and buy stuff and put in the fridge, and when he needs it, he has to go to market again to go and buy again. No. God has provided enough resources for us by Jesus Christ. That is why I see that we are the light of the world is basically for us to preach the gospel. My first quote was like, to see men influenced by the power of God. And maybe it might start from here. We have to do that. Let your light shine bright as the power of the gospel, so that it will demonstrate in and through you today. And how will this happen? Is when we study, is when we listen, is when we walk in it. As we have studied, as we have listened from some people, then we walk as it is.